Day, radio viewers, and welcome to another edition of State of the Nation. State of the Nation, an informed look at the issues facing St. Martin. State of the Nation, sound, balanced, and progressive solutions for country St. Martin. State of the Nation, brought to you courtesy of the St. Martin Christian Party. And now, here are your hosts.
Good afternoon, St. Martin. Welcome to State of the Nation on 98.1 Pearl FM. With me in studio today, we have three candidates, and I'll introduce them. Benjamin Bell, candidate number 6. Beside him is Miss Beverly Gibbs. Welcome.
Thank you.
You're candidate number 5.
5, yes.
And candidate number 9, Viren Northcote.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome each one of you, and I know that we're going to have an exciting time discussing the state of the nation. So we'll start off with what it is that you plan to do, or what it is that you want to introduce yourself to St. Martin. Let's hear about it. Benji?
Well, good afternoon, radio listeners and all that are in their cars, maybe heading home today. My name is Benjamin Bell, for those who don't know. I contested in the last 2 parliamentary elections with the St. Martin Christian Party, and I must say, over that time period for the last election, I've been working also in the faction office for SMCP in Parliament. There's a lot that we have learned over that time period, and I must say that experience is what I'm going to bring to this election. So what I'm trying to say right now, St. Martin Christian Party is more on a role to be able to serve this country even from a better perspective with what we have garnered in experience over the last year and a half in Parliament and also in government. So I think I walk with that this time around.
Very good. And Miss Gibbs?
Yes.
Seasoned with experience?
Yes, to a certain extent. Good afternoon to the folks out there. And yes, again, I am here, Beverly Gibbs, number 5 on the slate. And even though I don't have the experience like my colleague Benjamin Bell here, but I'm ready to go. I'm ready to pick up where we left off and proceed.
Okay, very good. And Viren, you're new to the party. Let's hear it from you.
Yes, so this is Viren Northcote, number 9, on the SMCP slate. Well, I'm being born and raised here. I am the youngest, possibly on the entire list. And my intentions are to bring my young, innovative mindset and apply it to where we might have some issues in our country. And our voices have not been really heard over the past 9 years. And I believe that I can be that bridge to be the voice of my generation and for the ones obviously to come after me. I am very much integrated within sports. I have other hobbies and interests in agriculture, motorsports, and I believe that young, innovative mindset that I have will be beneficial to our country. And I've put my foot down to start my work, and my work will not finish until we've accomplished what we need to accomplish.
Well said. And with that, I am your host, Lisa Renee Wilson, and we're going to have a wonderful time talking about what's going on and some of the points that you plan to address. So we have some experience on our hands. How was your time in Parliament, being in the faction office? We don't usually get to hear about behind the scenes.
Yes, the behind the scenes was very interesting. When you have that opportunity to see what is happening on the floor of Parliament, and when the cameras are on, the cameras are off. It was very, again, like I said, there's a lot that I've learned and garnered in that time period, but I also got a first-hand view of what the games in the politics look like. And to tell you the honest truth, it is one of the things that is very sad to me that our nation is still playing games on important topics. You know, our leaders are playing games with important topics, and I would lean on things like the FATF laws and the airport situation. You know, our dump was usually one of those other political football things that they were doing, tossing it and coming back with it. These are things that should not be played with, because these are things that affect the whole island, not just one person or this small group. It's everybody. And I think we should have come to that point after Hurricane Irma, where we should have said, okay, the political games needs to be put aside so that we can build our nation back up into a place where we can start to move forward again. A lot of people does not understand that we are still in a place of pretty much reconstruction, but also a state of kind of emergency still. Not because we are getting our salaries mean everything is okay. And the airport is a clear indicator of that. They still haven't gotten their pay. They don't know if they're going to get paid this month. And these are things that was rectified from January, so that by now, those things would have been in place so that they could have gone forward. But the games put us right back to where we were in January. Again. You know, so from my perspective, I've seen a lot of it. And again, dealing with some of the others, even the other faction staff workers, and seeing what's going on, a lot are not happy with the games. And I believe if we have a shift in who are going to be representing this island, we will see even better cross the line working with each other. But as it is right now, party colors is what is killing St. Martin.
So
You know that, sorry.
go ahead.
Can I jump
Go
in?
ahead. Sure.
You know, that's a shame, really, because it tends to let one think that it's all about themselves, and that's not the case.
Right.
It's about St. Martin. St. Martin is hurting,
It is.
you know, and we have, as St. Martiners, we have a way of doing well. We don't want to show our pain. We don't want to show that we have it difficult. We don't want anyone to know how bad it actually is.
Right.
But it is bad.
Yeah.
It is bad, you know. And you know, when I see, I help out with the market that we have every
The anti-poverty.
yes. I help out with the market, and you see people coming and they're saying, well, you know, oh boy, this is really something good that you all are doing.
Yeah.
And we're doing it for the people, but to see how it is something that they have been waiting for, and they're finally jumping on it because they finally feel that dollar that they have in their pocket can get them way more than that if they would go to the supermarket and buy their goods.
Right.
So they keep on coming, but there you can see it's a cry out. It's a cry out, you know. And I personally ask myself, where this cry out is not something from now.
Right.
It's not something from, you know, only after Irma. The cry out has been there before. You know, I say that, you know what, in St. Martin we're dancing, but the music has stopped a long time.
We're still going.
And we're still dancing.
Yep.
We're still making that pace, you know. But the music has stopped a long time ago, before Irma. You know, now that Irma has come,
Exposed.
no, it exposed the fact that, hey, your band players gone home. So what's left, you know? And it's sad, really, you know, if that, to see that it's only now there's a group, I would say the anti-poverty platform, they come with something, and it's only now a few is willing to talk about it. And the one whose practically brainchild it is haven't said nothing for the party as yet, because he's coming
up.
He is coming. I know
number
he will,
13.
he number 13.
So-
Mr. Butte, he will give extensively what he think and how he thinks things should be on that. But I don't want to take anything away from him. I just want to add that you can see the cry out
Right.
Right.
in people because they're hurting.
Because they're hurting. And that's the reason you've postulated yourselves to
That's mainly my
address some of these hurts that the nation is feeling.
Yeah.
Viren, I want to hear from you. As a young man, a millennial, you've chosen this party, the St. Martin Christian Party, to campaign with.
Yes.
Why is that?
Well, as we all may know by now, the principles that St. Martin Christian Party consists of and what they believe in, those core principles are definitely what I want to align myself with. Because growing up and throughout my life, I was taught humility, I was taught transparency, and we do know in life to move forward, you need stability. And without that, the pieces of the puzzle won't come together, right? So that being said, serving you for a change and self above country are things that I will definitely align myself with. Country first, the people first, and then ourselves after. The opposite of what is actually, has been going on, throughout this time. So, again, as I mentioned, being a young millennial, I do intend to be that bridge and that voice for our young people, because we are the people who are going to be in those positions for the years to come. We have young business minded individuals, young entrepreneurs who are not getting those opportunities because maybe of the lack of education on it or the lack of knowledge. And I believe that I can be that instrument to relay that message to them, for all of us to move forward and grow together.
Very good. Good stuff. So we have the youth and the graceful. In besides the anti-poverty platform where you said you volunteered, what's your stronghold? What has been your contribution to St. Martin so far?
I have started a foundation, a school for children that has autism. And
focusing on the special needs.
On special needs, yes. And unfortunately, it's something that I have for years now I have been working with, and there seems to be not much attention, if I can put it like that, for children that has a special needs. And that's very unfortunate, because it's not going to stop. They're not going to go away. We need to have attention for this category of children. It seems like if in St. Martin, there's not much attention for special needs children. There's not much attention for the elderly. There's not much attention for I would say youngsters that has been involved, that has a record, let's say it like that. But we cannot continue to close our eyes to these groups.
You have some solutions.
I will not say that I have the solution. I will say that as a community, we need to focus our attention on these groups, because they are there. And if we don't do anything with them, the problem is going to go from bad to worse. Because children that has a learning challenge, we don't have a solution for them when they are young, between the ages of, let's say, from 2 to 15, 16. But when they become an adult, what's going to happen with them?
Yeah.
Just follow my trend. Eh?
Yes.
They're going to be pushed aside. If their caretakers pass away, you're going to have an adult with no one to look after them.
Right.
And let's imagine what will happen to them. They're going to be dependent on others, and not everybody are, so well willing to help in a positive way. So in Dutch we say ze zijn overgeleverd, yeah, to whoever is willing to do something for them. You can imagine that they become prey for certain groups.
Yes.
In all sense of the word, whether it's people who may use them to commit criminal activities, or whether they become prey sexually, or whatever.
So this is a major concern.
It is a major concern that I don't think people are actually thinking further than today.
And so that is something that we all would definitely want to see that addressed.
That needs to be addressed. It really needs to be addressed.
And
It also, and not only to talk about children with special needs, because I could go on and on and on and on about that.
when it's a life passion, then of course.
Yes, but we also have the elderly that no one is looking back at.
Right. So all these special needs groups, every sector of society, each section of the population, they need attention. But these, because of their vulnerabilities,
The vulnerable
that
groups.
has your heart.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Benji mentioned some of the current things that are going on, the CFAT, and you mentioned the airport. So tell me, what is it that you see that, what would you want to, how would you do it differently? You said they were playing the game, the political game, and kicking the ball
Well,
away.
again, it's understanding the role of a parliamentarian. I think one of the things that we have missed for a long time is understanding that your main role as a parliamentarian is to make decisions.
Right.
Okay, and I think there's a group maybe that maybe think that it's, I just need to say I did it, or you did it, or we did it, and
Some flip-flop
instead of saying, hey, this is a situation that has been brought to the floor, we are all 15 representatives of the people. And as the 15 representatives of the people, these are topics that our society needs to get in order.
Right.
And if we get these topics in order, then the country can move forward. How could you play around with something like the FATF laws to make 3 words changed in it? I don't mind if we had to make a change, but if we had to make a change, that's what we should have been debating on the floor. I think this needs to change from that perspective. We looked at it
And to get it done in time.
Get it done on time. And here's what maybe the public might not understand, and because I sit with it all the time, this is what I saw. The first deadline that we heard about was somewhere in March of this year. We got an extension. You reach to that deadline, still nothing again. We get a little bit more of an extension, you're still playing around. So it tells me that for me, it's not important. And then we make statements. We make statements when the world is looking at us and saying they are not serious. Not only the major countries, but also our Caribbean brothers and sisters,
Right.
those islands, they are also voting not for us to have extensions. If that is happening, it tells me that we are being seen as, hey, they're not going to say the politicians, no. They're going to say St. Martin. Looks like they have something to hide. Like, we want to have money laundering going on. We don't care about fixing that side. So therefore, going on the blacklist is very easy. The former minister came in and very clearly said, he said that his last meeting with them, which was Minister De Weaver, he said, from their perspective, we were at the bottom of the class. be the bottom of the class, anybody who went to school would understand that ain't the place you really want to be. So how could I hear that on the floor of my parliament and take it lightly? You understand? And still delay. And now want to come in and act as if now we're going to change it. No, listen, we dropped the ball. Things was presented to us. If we needed to stay up later and work on it, then let's do it. But it's about making the decisions
and making the sacrifice.
Just making a sacrifice to get it done. They are getting paid to do that job. Playing around with those things are not for me. I don't care who comes with an excuse and other things about it. But I sat in there and I watch it. I sat in there and watched them laugh after they finish speak. You understand? And that's why, again, I would say this because I don't know who all is listening, but for those who are listening, I've put this challenge out there before, and I'll say it again. Parliament is not only for the parliamentarians.
No.
We have a tribune where our people can come in and watch them in action. I know that everybody cannot make it every time, but every now and then, if some of our people can just find that extra in themselves to come in and watch them, because whenever there are people in the tribune, they are different.
And even though people are tuning in on Facebook Live and so on, it's not the same because you're only seeing at a certain angle.
Yes.
And I know, Kotai, you could tell us about the social media influence on behavior. That's a thing about, especially the millennial group has taken advantage of social media.
Definitely. It is one of the platforms that is used worldwide, and going through social media could be a good and a bad influence, you know, and people can give you a story, sell you a story, and it may not be right at all. And it is unfortunate that that's how it is, because it's something like hearsay, he say, she say, you know. But the influence social media has towards us, it's great if we use it in the right way. If we are out there using social media for a negative approach, it doesn't make sense. Like for myself, if I have to get a message out, my peers and whatnot, they are heavily involved within the social media platforms.
Right.
But now for maybe an older generation, their peers probably are just, you know, they just know a few things about it and they need help from the younger generation. So that's why it's very good from my point at being a millennial. I have this to my advantage. But again, as I said, there are the pros and the cons of social media. It can have a good cause for you or a bad one.
It depends on who is using it.
Exactly.
And how it's being used.
I would even add to that, because it's a very important tool, because you see, manipulation is one of the things that I despise. I despise it very much. Okay. A lot of times the older politicians, not only on this island but worldwide, they use their angle to get the people to see what they are looking on without giving them total facts. What social media has done in this day and age, it has opened everybody to be able to gather more information than we used to. Say when I was growing up, you had maybe Claude Watty and them, and whatever they told you, we followed. Okay, but now today, if a minister says something or an MP says something and the document is there, we can now go and find the document and say, but really and truly what they're saying is not totally right. No, that's now another part where we as a people now have to take on that task to say, hold them accountable for what they are saying. And sometimes we get people now that are trying to look at us from a perspective of, you shouldn't tell us all of that, but then how are you going to make an informed decision if you don't know?
And their work, which employer does not want the employee to report to
So we come back to something that's one of our core values, which is accountability.
And with that, we definitely have to come to these core values: accountability, stability. Everybody's talking about integrity. We're going to come to those things when we return from the break. We're now at the half point. Stay tuned to Pearl FM Radio. We're live on State of the Nation with SMCP. State of the Nation on Pearl FM Radio 98.1 FM. So we're talking about the values and the virtues that SMCP started out proposing and pushing forward, and now everybody is talking about stability, integrity, accountability.
Yeah.
Who wants to address it?
You could practically say that the SMCP is trendsetters.
You're trendsetters, right?
But unfortunately, when you see, and you just heard the experience of my colleague Bell here, you ask yourself, are we really transparent? Do we really have integrity? And so forth. Those values that the SMP stand for, is it really something that we can say that everyone adheres to that? You know, when I hear about the games, now, you know, playing games is one thing. Playing games for self-interest is another.
Yep.
We as St. Martin's, we need to really take a long look at ourselves, you know, because we are playing games over the back of St. Martin's.
Yes.
You know, and like he says, because the general public is not there on the tribunal, nobody, no one seems to think that, oh, they are paying attention.
Right.
You know, but when you're feeling the consequence of bad decisions,
Yes.
that's a different story. You're playing with people's lives,
Right.
right? And we don't go there.
Right.
We don't go there. We need to get mature. We need to grow up. And for once say, well, you know what? I want to see my country go forward.
Right.
And not myself. It's not about me. You know, everyone was in total shock when MP Mercelina took the decision to come with a motion to send one of the ministers of his party home. You know,
Yes.
I said, well, that should have been happening a long time. You know, because it's not about, oh, my party have a minister there and I have to agree to everything, whether at night I'm awake because I know it's not right, but I have to agree because he's my, no. We need to come to the point to say we're not going there.
Right.
You know,
So it
has to be in benefit of the country, not in the benefit of one person or maybe two.
Understood. And as you're saying, it should not be, if I understand your sentiments correctly, it's not about the MP or that minister,
No.
but about the
It's about-
politics
yes.
of it, to say
Yes.
MPs and ministers should not be aligned just because of party colors.
Exactly.
No.
But doing your job. Your job
Exactly.
is to hold the ministers accountable.
Accountable,
And
no
so
matter
it should
who they
not-
are.
No matter who they are, and no matter which party they came from.
they came from.
And with that said, on that same topic, and here's the point that maybe some from the outside might not understand. As a coalition, and I could say this clearly, Benjamin Bell was in the coalition meetings. Okay? In your coalition meetings is when you have an opportunity to hash out some of those things for your own ministers. Not that you can't tell them what to do, but you want to know where we're going, what we're doing, and I don't agree with this, and let's see how it happens. But I'll be able to ask this of you on the floor. I'm gonna question you the hard stuff if you don't get proper answers within the coalition. My issue comes from around the areas where if you're sending home a minister, you have to have enough evidence and factual reasons why you're sending home a minister. Okay? One of the things that we were looking at certain ministers as well that probably were not performing. But when you want to go and send home a minister, you have to do it with facts. You cannot say, oh,
True.
I don't like this minister, so you know what? He ain't doing what I want, so he needs to go home.
And there again we go. It's not about
It's
I.
not
It's
about
not
the I.
me.
It's about the
And
country.
this is what we
Exactly.
are. This is what we are faced with on a regular basis. While and I would say this as well. SMCP is not perfect,
No.
but when we have to make decisions, if we all go and we said this is according to what we are seeing, this is where we want to go, we make the decision. Whatever happens with the consequence, we'll have to deal with as a collective. But it cannot be that I'm just going along for going along's sake. Because I heard someone even make that like SMCP is just going along to be along. We have never gone along to be along. And anybody within that coalition from the other side could tell anyone that this one seat was not going along. We've made many noise and many arguments within the coalition meetings because, again, and sometimes we even stood for the minister that came from them. Because, again, it cannot be personal reasons why we're doing it.
No.
It has to be the best interest. Why are we doing it? Give us the facts so we can make an informed decision.
Exactly.
Understood. Now, there are some other points outside of Parliament
Yes.
that we want to address. And Kotai, Viren, you spoke of agriculture, sports, some of your interests, some of your activities. Let's
Yes.
hear about those.
Well, as I mentioned previously on the show itself, like I grew up around the culture of sports. My childhood, going into my teenage years, were spent on this court right here, Jose Lake Ballpark, was spent on the soccer field, playing for my high school and primary school
Which high
teams.
school is that?
St. Dominic High School.
And primary?
Same, St. Dominic.
Okay.
I when I began school at 4, I started at that time Jolly Dwarfs, gone to primary and straight through high, and then I got shipped off to Canada. So throughout those years,
Shipped off, you didn't want to go. You
I
love
was-
St. Martin so much.
you see, this is the thing. I love this country so much, but I was also ready for a change. Although it didn't stop me from coming home every 3 months. I was home every 3 months until I finished my school.
Good.
September to December home, then January to April, summer home. So throughout these years of going to school and whatnot, I was heavily involved in sports, which ended up in being my education. I graduated in an advanced diploma of sports management and administration. I intend to continue that and within my master's online, and it will start very soon.
Nice.
The work doesn't stop, as I mentioned earlier.
Good.
Now, within sports, I grew up on the courts and the fields, and a lot of the talk of sports tourism comes about.
Right.
Although for the same problems and situations we had when I was a youth, of not the proper facilities, the resources, the education needed in
Right.
order to aspire to be an athlete itself.
Yes.
We weren't taught these things growing up. Maybe small pieces of the whole puzzle, but we weren't given the whole 9 yards. And that's why I found my own shortcomings aspiring to be an athlete, and that those exact shortcomings is what I'd like to educate our future aspiring athletes in the future, because this is the thing. Children from the Dominican or Curacao, they're playing pro league baseball,
Right.
and they're getting that attention. If
Yeah.
anybody watches MLB baseball, Major League Baseball, they see Curaçao's
Yes.
advertisement behind the batsman.
yep.
Yeah.
They see that advertisement there, and how did they get that exposure throughout the sporting sector? This is a lot of the things that we need work on, but the grassroots need to be worked on.
As well. Yep.
The education needs to amp up in these sectors. Not my ideas would come from teaching the money management, the financial literacy, but also teaching our youths that if you want to succeed in anything that you do, you must have a certain discipline, and that's a lot of what is lacked, but not because of the youth itself, it's because of the environment.
So,
No.
so those are some of the points that you'd want to address and to see changed.
Correct, and as something I did yesterday, a pet project. The lights have not been up at the Jose Lake Ballpark at the basketball court from before Irma, and we always hear no lights, no lights. I grew up there, and I decided to take the initiative to at least get something working temporarily. It's not a permanent fix, at least to bring that awareness there, and I successfully got that done, and there's still much.
So we have lights
On the basketball court.
On the basketball
yes,
court.
and
Nice.
as I
Good.
encouraged everybody, and as I'm done over here, that's where I'll be, and I'll be ready to play over there. And to be very honest, I know I had to go through some stages to get that up, but I'm also happy that I brought the awareness to the situation.
Good. So we're already making a change, as you said. SMCP
Correct.
serving for a change.
Yep.
Exactly. I'm more of being of more action and less talking, and I hope to display that throughout this process and moving
Yes.
on, elected or not.
Okay, good. And Miss Gibbs, you wanted to say something else about your passion.
Well, basically, my passion is disabled or challenged children, right? And as I look around in St. Martin, I said before, there don't seem to be much attention for these children. We in St. Martin need to come to the point to realize that we need to do something about this group, because they are there. They're not. Every school is required to do whatever they can, but one autistic child can have the entire school on its toes.
Yeah.
You know, and still we see that people would ask you, do we have those? You know, yes, we do.
Yeah.
We do, you know, but if we don't talk about it, let everyone see that they are there, and that
Awareness.
something has to be done. The awareness has to be there. You know, we will continue thinking, you know what, oh, but the child is just rude. No.
They need that
no.
proper assessment and attention.
Exactly.
Yes.
They need
That's
that. And at this point, it's left up to private initiative, let me put it like that, private initiative to do something for this category. But the Department of Education is there, and they should be doing something for these children. In every school, there is one child, at least one, there's many, but that falls in the spectrum.
And so there's need for that, and I understand what you're saying. Not that there is no facility, but that government needs to make that
Needs
step
to, yes.
in order to be able to better take care of them.
Yes.
Another group that we need to
Definitely.
take better care of, as you've been saying, is the elderly.
The elderly.
The elderly and the pension.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, 300, 400 guild. Tell me more about that,
It's
Becky.
sad.
What I've been at last election. I spoke about something that is dear to me when it comes to the pensioners, because again, I'm in my time working at the Inspector of Taxes. I've witnessed it firsthand. When you follow those tax forms, or you see the assessments and they come to you and ask why this is happening, why they ended up having to pay, and different stuff like that. So I took it upon myself to really go deeper into the pension situation, because when you saw some of what some people was getting as pension, I said it's crazy.
Impossible.
But how could you be making such a small pension and then you had an extra income to make
To
your life to
compensate,
compensate,
right.
and then you're ending up having to pay so much
Taxes.
extra now because of the pension.
Right.
And I had to look into it, and from that, looking into that, it came to the conclusion that the ROV pension is usually being double taxed, and every body that I kind of share that with in the finance and stuff, most don't believe it's that, because they don't deal with the tax
taxes.
forms, they don't deal with the assessments to see it from the perspective that I'm showing. So I took some time and I broke this thing down. I took one or two different people with the same issues, show it to others, and because it's like, wow, maybe it's just a one-time problem. No,
It's for everyone.
it's for all. Now, if we understand, and this is why when we have this discussion about the pensions, everybody's saying raise the pension, which sounds good. It sounds very good, and I like it, because I think that it's either it should raise or we should have some kind of supplement to help those who are getting a very low pension. Okay, but if you raise it in its current position, you're gonna be paying more taxes.
Right.
So we need to adjust that part first. And again, it's not about not raising it, but we have to do our due diligence first. Clean up that
The
that
tax
that
rate
little
is
that little
needed.
problem first. And I've shown clearly how it can be done, but now it's now doing it in the law. To fix a law, to amend and adjust law, add in, it's not a 1, 2, 3 step that most people might try to fool others out there that it is. It takes time. And you have to go through a lot of different departments to go through and look at it and say this could be the problem, and if we lose revenue here, how can we pay for it, and all of those different things. And the reason I have this again is because of with SMCP, why we're working on a specific law with the MP. So you looked at that and I'm saying, wow, these things are going to take a lot longer than we expect. But here's the thing that we need to understand as St. Martin. You cannot get no party to make changes on that type of level in a year and a half.
Because it needs more time.
We need the 4 years of a smooth government. I don't care if we were sitting in this position or sitting in that position, but any MP that wants to put things out there, we need time to be able to get things done. The laws are not cookie cutter laws that you can just put together and make it happen. It takes time and it takes expertise, and once we can start to understand that we have an obligation to try to have stability as our number one focus, so that St. Martin can come out of this little hole of always falling down. It's like, like a hurt young one that
limping.
every time you're limping, you're getting up too fast instead of letting it heal properly, the injury heal properly, and you should know from sports too,
You got
a sprained ankle, and instead of you leave it heal properly, you want to still run and you're falling down all the time. That's what's happening to St. Martin. We need time to heal. Whoever it is, get in as long as we can. Let's get in and let's take the 4 years and let it happen. Let's stop trying to throw down government for personal stuff and nonsense that does not make any sense.
Throwing down government has practically become our national sport.
Yes.
And it's
That's an
shameful. It's shameful.
It's shameful statement.
It's shameful, because we should not be doing that. Come on. It's about time we
It
start.
needs maturity.
Yes, it
needs
does.
maturity.
Again, it's
because
decision makers.
And I feel for the civil servants, because when a minister comes in and they start to work on something, before you know it, he's gone, and then they need to shift from whatever they're working on to start on something else again, because another one came in with other demands.
Unless you have a mature minister.
Yes.
Like the leader of the SMCP.
Definitely.
For instance. But still, it is a serious problem, because we can never get something done. We start something and we can never finish it, and that's not good. That's not good for the country. Where are we going like that?
Right.
It's always going. You take 2 steps forward, you go 3 backwards.
Right. And another matter that has been circling, been coming up and trying to get a little more focus is something that you also mentioned, agriculture, because there's been some attention given.
Yes.
And we keep mentioning the one pillar economy, and you have others in the society saying, listen, we have the capability of doing more. Agriculture is one of those.
Yes, definitely. And the issue over here would always come down to the land space.
Yes.
That is the issue.
Right.
But thankfully for me, this is not something that I can put out there and then falsely give people hope, because I do have a young innovative mindset of a peer that has a piece of land that is interested in agriculture. He did help set up the farm in Kupakoi, so he has the experience within it. And from my part, I intend to help him achieve his passion the same way I want to achieve mine within sports. If it interested me to actually learn about agriculture, learn about how the seed blossoms into a plant from the roots of the ground. So as a young man, if we can take it back to the olden days and at least start and bring that awareness there, as I said with the other aspects that I would like to bring awareness to, if we can start somewhere over there and move forward, maybe in the future we can have one of the biggest local farms on the Dutch side of the island.
Nice.
You know,
Good.
potentially it can be, and I will make sure, elected or not, that we succeed in this area.
So you will be championing with or without. You're going forward
Definitely.
because
Even with sports, like these are my interests. These are where I align myself with first. You know, so nevertheless of the conclusion, it's not done for me.
you'll be going forward.
I'm going. This is my start. And where I finish, we will find out. But this is where I start.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And it's key that when you start and what you say you're going to do, you follow through with that.
Yes.
One of the things that was followed through with is the reduction in the salaries
Yes.
for ministers and MPs.
Definitely. The
Go ahead,
reduction in
Benji.
the salaries, the motion was put on the floor.
Yes.
It pretty much went dormant. But we as the SMCP, we followed through with our pledge, which was to give our 15% and donate that until we reached to the point where there was a voluntary 10% reduction from government that came over, and we took it. I guess from the MPs, there was only 2 MPs that did it, which was MP Claude Chacho Peterson and MP Jules James when he came in. So
okay.
at the end of the day, doing what you set out to do is very important. You know, there's a lot of different things that we touched on in our manifesto, a lot of little things that we started out and we were in a process of, and some that got through, and definitely the 15% was one. I know there's certain things that we were getting into in Parliament as well, and we talk about, like, say, electoral reform. That had started, the discussion started, we had different things going on, but a lot couldn't go on when you're thinking about reconstruction of St. Martin. And I think sometimes we overlook the fact that we were in a reconstruction phase, a phase of calamity on the island. So the focus was really, how are we going to get these things in place, put them together, and start putting, like, say, the NRPB. The NRPB was not in place. It's
Right.
now there. So now government, even the ministers,
Management of it.
the ministers don't have to now deal with all of that as much no more. The NRPB is taking on the brunt of that. But right after the election, it was the ministers dealing with the World Bank all the time. So it's a lot of things that maybe the public might not see. Those are things that were prohibiting certain things from going forward the way we really wanted to see it going. And now that things are getting there, and I think a lot of people are seeing that they are getting there, because the line of people that goes to the NRPB now to make sure that things are in order, you can tell that they are ready to really get major projects rolling.
Okay. So as we close, the time runs so
Yes.
quickly. When you're having fun,
Of
time
course.
runs fast, right?
Yeah.
So, Viren, any closing words for this segment?
I'd just like to say that I hope throughout this process and moving further, I do achieve the awareness that I need to bring upon the certain, not problems, but situations that can be fixed.
Yes.
And I do intend to be the voice of the individuals who need to be heard. Number 9, and I hope that we together can achieve something for this country that hasn't been achieved in these 9 years.
So, number 9.
Yes,
after
number
9
9.
years.
Yes, number 9.
I get it. Okay, thank you. And for Miss Gibbs.
Basically, my last word would be to the people, it's time for us to put our country first. Let everything, all our individuals' agendas, just let that rest for a while. Let's put St. Martin first and actually work for the people of St. Martin.
Yes.
Number 5 on the SMCP list.
Well, this is number 6 on the SMCP slate. This is Benjamin Bell, and I'm asking you to get SMCP in. 1 seat is not enough. 3 or more is what we're going for. Please give us this opportunity to represent you all in Parliament. But what I want to also say is that change without change definitely isn't change.
Okay. Tell us, why do you need more than 1 seat?
Aha.
I mean,
Well, I'll give it to the public from the.
How many seats does SMCP want?
We want all.
All is 15.
We want all.
You have
We want
14
all.
candidates.
We want all. That's
So
okay.
let me-
We gonna share. We gonna share when we get the rest.
Okay.
But you know, having more than 3 is very important to us, because having one, what we understood is that having that one to call a meeting, you always have to ask others to help you get that done. And I think if we want to push our mandate stronger from Parliament's perspective, having 3 where we could say this is a meeting we want, this is what we want to accomplish, at least 3 or more is where we got to go.
And if you get the 8,
We want it all, I tell you, all.
okay. So again,
Yes.
we have the plans, you have the word, you have your passions, and you have what you'd want to see happen for St. Martin. Okay? Viren, we look forward to having you another time on the show where we can hear more about what your plans are, what your ideas are, and as the young one coming up.
Yeah, hopefully by then, more action has been taken, and I would have more proof to show what has been done.
Okay, what's your campaign strategy right now? Where should people look to see more of Viren Kotai?
It's all about the engagement of our youth. It will always boil down to that, and you know, a lot of people do say they want to focus on the youth, but how much is really done? So things like agriculture and sports, I believe they go hand in hand with our youth, because if we can educate our young ones on these 2 matters especially, there's a far way that we can go. Very far.
Very far. Good. And Miss Gibbs.
I would like to add to what he said about agriculture and sports, because there's another aspect to that is health.
Yep.
And we don't talk much about health.
Right.
But we need to indeed start growing our own food.
Yep.
Eat what you grow.
Eat what you grow,
Grow what you
definitely. Definitely. Because we are seeing many illnesses, and that is based on the fact that we have one thing in common: everybody has to eat.
Right.
So I think the attention should be at what you're eating is probably making you ill.
Right.
So we need to focus on healthy eating. You know, so
I would like to also say before I go, a shout out to the now generation youths. I know there's some youths that I work along with. I give choir lessons to them, and their slogan is this: better morals for better living. And you see, when I sat with the leaders of that group, it was easy for me to say I want to work along.
Right.
And what I've noticed, even if not only just giving them the singing lessons, but it's, hey, you guys need to change certain attitudes, certain ways you're going to do things. So sometimes I find myself more speaking to them like a mentor than even giving them the classes. But now they are understanding why, because eventually they're going to be the leaders tomorrow. They're going to be the one working in these different areas. Right. So I just want to say, I encourage you guys, continue to do your best and make sure that your morals stand next to you with what you do outside.
Very good. And what's your platform? Where do we look out to see
number
6?
You can see me on Facebook. I'll be posting a lot of stuff. I'm really trying to figure out how I'm going to approach this time, but it's coming. There's a lot of different things that's going to happen. I'll have videos and different things that are coming up as well.
Okay, so with that, I encourage everyone listening, thank you for tuning in to another episode of State of the Nation. Stay tuned to SMCP's activities via their Facebook page, St. Martin Christian Party, and also via their website, SMCP Online. With that, until next week, I am your host, Lisa Wilson, and this is State of the Nation on Pearl 98.1 FM.
You were just listening to State of the Nation, brought to you courtesy of the St. Martin Christian Party. For more information, visit us at our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/SMCP online. Email us at serveforchange@gmail.com. And don't forget to tune in next Wednesday at 5 p.m. for another edition of State of the Nation.